Jake Paul is about to talk to you and lecture you about gun violence and guns, as if he knows anything about either. Instead of going and look at statistics like he should, he's not going to do that. He's going to go talk to the victims of shootings, and he's just going to listen to emotions, and he's going to demand gun control based on those emotions. He's not going to care about the facts or statistics at all, and that's the flaw with this video that I'm about to show you.
We begin our program with broken hearts in another American town, which today became the site of yet another deadly school shooting.
17 people killed in a mass shooting at a Florida high school.
This is Parkland tonight, points of light shining in the darkness.
I'm sorry, guys.
I don't believe that this insane monster should have ever been able to obtain a firearm.
I agree, lady, but there's nothing you could do to stop a maniac from getting a gun. Nothing at all. Oh, well, what if we make it so you have to be 30 years old to pick up a firearm? We could do that. Hell, we could get rid of AR-15s and AK-47s and replace them with bolt-action rifles. Bolt-action rifles that shoot .22 LR, which is one of the weakest rounds there is. Do you think that will solve gun violence? Yes. No, you moron, because there's 500 million guns in the United States of America. If a criminal wants a gun, there is plenty of guns in the black market for them to choose from. Plenty. AK-47s, AR-15s, and you just disarmed yourself, and the best gun you could get to defend your life now is a bolt-action .22 LR. And that's assuming you're 30 years old and you're actually allowed to pick one up. Congratulations, you just screwed yourself. And that's all gun control does, is it screws you and the average citizen over. It screws everybody over but the criminal. So all gun control does is disarm the good guys. It removes AK-47s and AR-15s and hunting rifles and all that good stuff out of the hands of good guys. And it doesn't affect the criminals at all. The criminals will still get their AR-15s and AK-47s in the black market. So you disarmed the good guys and armed the bad guys. Gun control is a terrible idea for this reason. That's not true. You can't get stuff from the black market. Look at drugs, you moron. There's drugs in every street corner in every city. Black markets are a real thing, and they provide anything that you ban. And don't even get me started on gun-free zones. Gun-free zones are the worst gun control because it completely disarms everybody. It creates a shooting gallery where everybody's a victim, and nobody can defend their own lives. All it does is it protects the shooter from getting shot. And him getting shot would be a good thing because it would stop him from shooting others.
I think the only thing I can do to help in this situation
is shutting the hell up.
Is go ground floor, talk to a bunch of people that were in the shooting, outside of the shooting, teachers of the school, the Parkland County Commissioner, and figure out what needs to be done and give that message to as many people as I possibly can.
Look, the shooter himself on YouTube said that he was going to shoot up a school. The FBI investigated him and did nothing. The police were called on his house 39 times, and again, they did nothing. There was 4 armed police officers who were capable of stopping the shooter, but they never went in and stopped him because they hid instead. Also, the place was a gun-free zone, so the teachers couldn't do their job and protect the students. And yes, it is the teacher's job to protect the students. Oh, that's not true. When you hire somebody to babysit your children, do you expect them to protect your children too? I bet you do. So it should be the same for teachers. Do you expect your children to defend themselves? No, that's freaking retarded. It is the adults that are present that are supposed to take care of your children. And the best way to do that is concealed carrying. Also, where the hell was the private security? There should have been private security at every school. But yeah, these are the problems. Everybody was disarmed. The FBI didn't do their job. The police didn't do their job. There was no private security. That's what went wrong. If any of those 4 things didn't go wrong, there would have been a school shooting. The government failed. It wasn't the Second Amendment's fault.
Going to meet with Jonathan and his mom Melissa right now. His mom has said that he is just lost, and used to be filled with like a ton of joy, and now when she looks at him, it's like there's emptiness. I just want to become homies with him and just be there for him.
Oh, you're so virtuous, Jake. Please tell me more how much you care about those kids and we don't. I mean, we all care about the kids as much as you, Jake. Come on, give me a break. You're not the only one who cares about kids. I just offer real solutions that work. You just peddle garbage. You just peddle emotions and then demand gun control, which doesn't work. You think you're helping, but you're just hurting people in the long run, really.
When I found out that there's a shooting at Stoneman, so I was texting JB right away, and I said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I didn't have any answer. I didn't hear from him. I texted him again, "Are you okay?" And there was no answer. I finally got a text saying, "Mom, people are being shot in my room, dying." And then that was it. I didn't know if my child was dead or alive. I had no response.
I know the response for half the people watching this video right now. Ban guns. Ban guns. Banning a tool won't ban the killer. Oh, that's stupid. You can't use different tools to kill people. For example, you can't use a car. 86 people were killed in Nice, France, with a truck. The most that were ever killed with a gun in a mass shooting is 59. So, trucks and cars are more deadly. Point is, you could ban the gun. You could ban the tool. The killer will still be alive, and he'll still want to kill, and he'll just use a different tool. Probably one that's more deadly than a gun. For example, in London, there was 500 acid attacks alone in 2016. Terrorists killed 3,000 people on 9/11 using box cutters. Keep that in mind. The gun is not the problem. The tool is not the problem. The problem is nobody's allowed to defend themselves in this country.
Did you ever think that would happen to you as a parent or as someone who works in the school system?
No, no. I mean, we live, in Parkland. Those things don't happen here.
Your feet are in this video that went viral.
Yes.
Where it's one of the videos that was like posted everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Are these the shoes?
Yeah, these are.
Those are the shoes from the video?
Yeah. I was laying down, and I guess I was just laying flat on the ground, and I guess someone just took the video and my feet were in it. At first I thought it was a drill. We didn't know what was going on. We've been practicing for drills like this just to make sure that we're okay and safe. So at first I heard a bunch of pops. I thought they were just fake at first, but I still went down as fast as possible. As I was going down, I realized that it was real. Bullets went through my door. 2 people killed in my classroom and 2 others were shot and injured. And half of the class went to one side of the class and then the other half went to the other side of the class, and they were in the line of sight, and some people got shot in my class on the other side.
He was basically just like sticking his gun through
the door, pretty much, like just spraying through the door.
Through the window of it?
100%, both of the kids in my class, they would have been saved if the bulletproof windows were put in. For us, it's safety. It happened, and that's one way that you need to fix it and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Bulletproof windows. That's self-defense. That's a good idea.
If the shooter knows that there's bulletproof windows, or if the shooter knows that there's more cops on campus, then they're not going to go to the schools. So unfortunately, school shouldn't be a place where you have to have many guards and cops, but if that's what it takes to be safe, then that's what it's going to have to be.
It's ridiculous that schools don't have private security. Many businesses have private security. It's not that big of a deal. Also, my freaking apartment complex has private security. Why couldn't a school? I seriously don't think it's asking much.
Why did you choose to feel comfortable to open up to me specifically?
Honestly, it's just easier to come out to talk about what's going on with someone than you than a doctor or someone. That's just a person that's their job. This isn't your job. You're just coming here to talk to me.
I have to tell you, it was the best therapy for my son, because when I heard him speak to you, he hasn't spoken to anybody. You didn't have an agenda, you cared. And you have to understand what that means to these kids.
Yes, we get it, Jake. You're so virtuous. Oh my God.
Talking to them, I learned so much. Something that like I even thought when I was in school is like, oh, this isn't gonna happen to me. I think everyone overlooks this. But since 2013, there's been a gun incident at schools every week. When you think of a statistic like that, instead of just...
Okay, you're looking at left-wing bias statistics. Do you know what they include for that? They include somebody accidentally discharging their weapon in their house on a street that runs through a school as a mass shooting. Yes, nobody's hurt, nobody's injured, nobody died. Mass shooting, according to the left-wingers. They seriously classify that as a mass shooting. And you got your statistics from every town for gun safety, by the way, and they're full of shit. They included some guy going to a former school, a school that has been abandoned for months, and he shot himself in the parking lot. They counted that as a mass shooting. People committing suicide in their own homes that happen to be on a street that also runs through a school is also considered a mass shooting. Basically, if you're at a school and you hear gunfire, they consider that a mass shooting. For example, last year they said that there was 355 mass shootings. What a bogus number. I mean, obviously that's false just right off the bat. That's almost a mass shooting a day. That's not true. In more than half those shootings, not a single person died. Hell, the vast majority of them, nobody was even injured. But they were mass shootings according to the left-wingers. Matter of fact, there wasn't 355, there was less than a handful. Let's put it this way. They said that there was 18 mass shootings in the beginning of 2018. I mean, we were 2 months into 2018, and they said we already had 18 mass shootings. 18. Guess how many mass shootings we really had if you looked at the facts? 1. A mass shooting is defined as 3 or 4 people dying in a mass shooting. That's a mass shooting. And if that's the criteria, which it should be, and it's the FBI's criteria, then there was only 1 mass shooting, not 18. They took 1 and they inflated it to 18. That's how dishonest they are.
That you're working on, or is there something specific?
Yeah, what we learned about Parkland was that, like most of these shootings, it isn't like some guy wakes up in the morning in a bad mood and goes buys a gun and kills a bunch of people. It's generally someone that over a couple years has been getting worse and worse. I think in like 8 out of 10 of these cases, they actually tell someone before they do it that this is what they're going to do, and sometimes people just don't take it seriously.
Yes, exactly.
And in this case, people did, right? They called the sheriff's office, they called the FBI, but nothing happened. So one of the first things we learned from this is we got to be better at identifying who these people are way ahead of time.
So...
No. You identified him, okay? So identifying him wasn't the problem. You doing nothing, that was the problem. And even in a perfect situation where you would have banned his gun rights, which you should have, it was your fault that you didn't. But even if you would have, if he really wanted to kill, which he obviously did because he did it, he could have got the gun illegally off the black market. Which brings me to my second point. People should have been able to defend themselves. But because you made gun-free zones, you made that impossible, which resulted in people dying. That and the fact that, the private security wasn't there, which there should have been, that would have solved the problem. And the police that were there did nothing. If they would have done something, they would have prevented the problem too. Those are the issues.
Senator Rubio, can you tell me right now that you will not accept a single donation from the NRA in the future?
Left-wingers teach these kids that the NRA actually funds them directly, like is directly giving them money to buy brand new houses, brand new cars. No, that money goes to their campaign fund so they could run again. All they're doing is saying, hey, look, this guy over here, he supports gun rights, so vote for him. That's all they're basically doing. They're not taking the money and buying fancy cars and fancy houses. That's not how it works.
One of the things we're working on is a law called Stop School Violence, which provides federal money for states to set up these systems that, like if they have it in LA, where they can identify the problem people and get ahead of it before it happens. And then the other is a restraining order, where you can be able to go to a court and show them their Instagram posts, the videos, or whatever it is they're doing, and say, look, this guy's got a problem. He's going to hurt somebody or hurt themselves, and get a court order to stop them from buying guns and to take away the ones they already have, so they don't, go into a school and do what happened here.
Look, the First Amendment is as important as the Second. And therefore, you have every right to ask that question of me, and I'm here to tell you that I will stand for the things.
Are you going to be accepting money from the NRA in the future?
I've always supported, I will always accept the help of anyone who agrees with my agenda. But
Guys,
the influence of any group,
we're going to be here all night.
The influence of these groups comes not from money. The influence comes from the millions of people that agree with the agenda. So the millions of Americans that support the NRA and who support gun rights groups.
Guys. We're a country where there's a lot of disagreements about what our gun law should be and what should be allowed or not allowed. Those disagreements existed before Parkland, and they're going to be going on. No matter what happens, even if those laws are changed, there'll be another side of millions of people that disagree. The best thing to do here is to stop someone before they even show up at the school and shoot it up. And I would just say that we haven't had another 9/11, and it isn't because of TSA. TSA does not really disrupt terrorist plots at the end. They're there and they have to be there. But the way we really disrupt these plots is we find out who the terrorists are before they do it, and we arrest them. We don't even let them get to the airport.
Now this is dangerous territory. Let me quote Trump for a second. Take the guns first, due process second. See, this is the dangerous territory I'm talking about. This could turn into a situation where people are losing gun rights because they give off bad vibes. Everybody gives off bad vibes once in a while. It's just human nature. Some people are just socially awkward. They shouldn't lose their gun rights over that. In order to remove somebody's weapons, there should be proof that they're going to hurt somebody. For example, a statement like the Parkland shooter made that he was going to shoot up a school. That was real good evidence to remove his weapons. But what you shouldn't do is run around and remove people's rights all willy-nilly without evidence.
Much less get on a plane. And we got to take the same attitude with this.
Alright, so we learned that Mr. Rubio is working on a couple of different laws. And he explained some of his struggles on passing laws, which is kind of why I wanted to make this video in the first place, is to activate parents and kids within their own schools and communities. That's the way things are going to get done the fastest. We don't want to wait for hundreds of people in Washington, D.C. to pass some laws. There's so many disagreements. I think we're at a point now where there's people in legislation, people in power, people like me, people like you guys at home watching this, students, parents, whoever may be watching this, where we all want the same thing, and that's to make schools safe.
Okay, so you don't know what needs to be done. You admit that. So you're just telling people to go do something. And I guess most people are going to think that that something you're telling them to do is gun control. And I'm telling you, man, that will make things worse. For example, let's say you make it so you have to be 21 to get a gun. Now suddenly 18-year-old girls who get raped can't defend themselves. Good job, freaking idiot. See, gun control doesn't work. It doesn't affect the criminal. The criminal is not obeying laws. They got their gun from the black market, so they were able to rape that girl easily. They were able to bypass your mental checks, your background checks, your age restrictions, and all your crap. But you know who wasn't able to bypass all that crap? The law-abiding citizen woman that you just made get raped.
I think he was definitely an outcast. I really think I think he didn't fit in with everyone. And I think that might have led him, as well as he had a bunch of tragedies in his life. His parents died, his foster dad died, he's autistic, and it just simply piled on top of each other, and he's really had a hard life. But that's not anyway justifying what he did. It's just that we have to understand that there is also an issue with the emotional aspect of schools. We got to look at like the mental stability aspect of young kids and make sure that we have the mental assistance for them and to make sure that they're not ostracized from community and they always have backing and support. That's really important. And we don't have the emotional grief counselors at our school to help out with that.
I know I gave Jake Paul a lot of crap in the beginning of this video, but I'm regretting that because so far this video is pretty good. He's talking about real solutions to the problem. He's not just hammering home gun control. He's talking about real solutions, and that's appreciated.
Did you guys know the shooter at all before?
Yeah.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And would he be someone you would suspect?
100%. I knew in my mind because in middle school he rode our bus every day along with his brother Zach, and he was always known as someone odd, someone off, someone who doesn't seem like
troubled.
Someone who's troubled. He's done this. He jumped off the bus window. He flicked the bus driver off.
Yeah.
And so everyone knew about it. He had complaints. He wasn't allowed to bring a backpack to school. He had a clear Ziploc bag. He wasn't allowed to have anything because he was such a threat. And also the police showed up to his house 39 times. The FBI was tipped off about it. From other kids, but nothing happened. Like he was definitely a threat to everyone, but no one took it seriously.
Oh my God. The government freaking dropped the ball on this, okay? Their police officers sucked, their FBI sucked, and this is ridiculous that this is even considered a freaking gun control issue.
Is there a message that you would want everyone to know?
Nobody should ever have to go through what I went through. It was the scariest moment of my life, and no person should ever own an automatic machine gun. It's like a weapon of war, and it's to kill people. It's not to protect yourself, and it just shouldn't be allowed.
Okay, a couple things. The AR-15 isn't a weapon of war. It is a civilian version of a military weapon, but it's a civilian version. It's not fully automatic like you claimed either. It's semi-automatic, which means it fires slow. Every time you pull the trigger, it fires once. If you hold down the trigger, guess what? It fires once. It doesn't keep firing fast. You know, it's not fully automatic at all. I mean, you actually heard this gun fire. How did you think it was fully automatic? Also, I find it interesting that you want to ban rifles when if you looked at the stats, you would see that handguns kill way more than rifles. And rifles kill less than knives. Also, this is a good time to point out that there's way more crime stopped by firearms than there are committed by firearms. There's 300,000 gun crimes a year in America. Now, 300,000 may sound like a lot, but consider the fact that there's 700,000 to 3 million violent crimes prevented by firearms every single year in America. They are used protecting people way more than they are used in crime. Also, I'm going to bring up the fact that I always bring up. There's 32 gun homicides a day in America. That's it. Considering there's a population of 320 million people, that's not a lot. 32. Gun homicides does not mean gun murder. All gun homicides mean is that somebody died using a gun, and that's all it means. So that includes self-defense cases where good guys kill bad guys. Considering the fact that crime is prevented more with firearms than used in firearms, let's say most of those are good guys killing bad guys. So that leaves 10 gun murders a day in America. 10 gun murders a day. Compare that to the 1,300 people that die a day in America by smoking. What's worse, 10 versus 1,300? It should seem ridiculous right about now that we have an uproar right now about guns, but not smoking.
There's a ton of information that I learned from the families and the students who are actually in the freshman building and the Parkland County Commissioner. I walked away with like about 5 big things. Every family that I talked to talked about having bulletproof windows inside on the doors. It could have saved 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lives. Number 2 was having more school resource officers. I actually found out from the Parkland Commissioner that they have like 200 and something schools and roughly only like 150 school resource officers. So on a lot of their schools, Some of them don't even have officers there. And specifically Parkland had 3,200 students, which is a big school, and there was one school resource officer. Having more school resource officers allows more ears throughout the school to figure out, oh, people are complaining about this kid. People are saying that this kid's bad. Someone said that that kid is having a party. Whatever it might be, the more school resource officers there are, the more information they're gonna have to be able to help these kids. A third thing that I found out, which is crazy, I believe these big social media companies should also have a moral responsibility. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you know, like I know on Instagram, if a girl posts a picture with her nipples out, like it automatically gets flagged and removed from Instagram and like reported under a system. So why can't we have that same technology with a kid taking a selfie with a handgun, or a kid in a video killing animals? Like that should pop up on someone's radar, and these big companies should have the moral responsibility to add that to their flagging systems.
I guess my kid would be flagged because he's been shooting since he was 4 years old. There's lots of pictures of him with guns. I guess he's a freaking killer now. Also, I plan on taking him hunting, so I guess that's going to raise another flag because you don't like them killing animals.
The fourth thing that I gathered from a lot of people was, and this one was kind of odd, I was talking to one student in particular, there are like these bulletproof shields that can fit into laptop pouches of backpacks. If I was a student again back in 2012 and I knew this information, I wouldn't have gone to school another day without one of those in my backpack. Number 5, in this specific school, since it's Florida, there's like it's an open campus and there's not really like a check-in point. If there was a check-in point, then this kid would have had to go by the check-in point. He would have had to have his ID. He would have had a reason for being there. Again, you're a mom, you're a kid, you're a parent, and your school doesn't have a check-in point. That's something you can easily go to them and say, look, we need to implement this.
Most of these are good suggestions. I'm surprised.
I'm personally going to donate $25,000 to help be a part of this cause. There's a march on March 24th in Washington, D.C. that a ton of people are going to. If you want to be a part of the march, I'm also making sure that part of my money is paying for 2 buses that are going to take students down there. If you want to be a part of that, it's on March 24th. I'll put the information below. Go be a part of the march, make your voice heard, and if this video, or by you showing this video to one other person, if it saves one life, then we're successful.
So this video wasn't that bad. Some interesting facts were stated, and I liked it, honestly. Alright guys, if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Also, check out my merchandise, and consider donating to my Patreon. Catch you on the next one.